What is up, guys? In today's video we're going to be going over how we can create a date and a time picker in Swift. So to demonstrate what we will be making, I have this live preview active, and as you can see we have 4 date and time pickers and a result at the bottom. Now if we click on the first one, it's going to let us choose any date we want. We can go to the 21st of October and it will place it at the bottom. We can also pick a time, and we can say it's going to be 4:32 p.m. and it's going to update it at the bottom as well. And the format for the date will always be that of the current location you're in. So it's going to take the region into account and it's going to set it to PM or 24-hour format. And also it's going to change the order of the date and the month and the year. Of course, I'm also going to show you how we can get the values from that and format it ourselves so we can provide our own output. But in general, SwiftUI is going to take care of the formatting based on your local region. So I will also show you how we can make it so you can only pick a future date, such as this. We can say 28th, but we cannot pick a previous date. And also how we can only pick a past date. So now we can't go past the 25th, but we can go to the 24th and below. And as you can see for these final two, we can only pick dates and time, just in case you want to make sure that the user can only choose one of those. But that was actually a very long intro, so let's go ahead and get started with creating the code. So the first thing you want to do is hold Shift Command plus N to create a new project. And we're going to click on App and click on Next. Then we're going to call this date, time as the app name. And of course you can call it whatever you want. And we will be using SwiftUI and Swift for this. So click on Next as soon as you've done that and click on Create. Now the first thing we have to do in here is close the sidebars because they take a lot of space, and we need to change the iPod Touch to an iPhone 13 or the iPhone of your choice, and click on Resume just to make sure that everything's working correctly. Now the first thing we're going to do is create 2 variables, and one's going to update the state, so we need to append @state, and it's going to be a variable of the current time, which is just going to equal an instance of the current date and time. Then we're going to create a closed range so we can tell the user they can only pick a previous date. And to do this, we just create a calendar.current.date, and inside here we're going to type in by adding like that, and we want to add the year and a value of -1 to the date. And we're going to guarantee that this closed range will never be null, so we're going to add the exclamation mark, because there's no way this will ever be null. And it's giving me an error because I forgot the colon here. Next, inside the body, we're going to go ahead and create a form so that we can give them some sections. And the first section is going to be of header, and we're going to add a text field that says date picker 1. And we're going to open a block and update the preview. So we have date picker 1 so far. Now to create a date picker, we just go ahead and type in date picker, and inside here we can add an optional message such as pick a date, and the selection is going to be set to a binding variable of current time. And this is enough to create a normal date picker. It's going to get the local time and it's going to let us pick a date from this. So if we go ahead and click on it, we're going to get this box here and the time box over there. So this is the first example of how we can create a date picker. Now let's go ahead and copy and paste this section so we can add a slight variation. So this is going to be date picker number 2, and it's going to say pick a future date. And the selection is going to be current time, but this time we're going to go ahead and specify a range. So in current date, again, to an infinite range, so 3 dots. So this will tell the program any day in the future is okay, but you can only pick a future date from today to the future. So now if we go ahead and click on this part right here, you'll notice it's going to say 25 into the indefinite future. But if we go to the previous one, we can pick any date we want. Now let's go ahead and modify this furthermore by creating a 3rd section. So date picker number 3. And this time we're going to create a closed range, so we can only pick between a specified amount of time. And for this example, I'm going to use from 1 year ago to the current date, but you can pick any range you want. It's still going to use the same in date, except this time we're going to say in closed range triple dot to the current date. And we created a calendar date right here that subtracts 1 year from the current date. So this will give us exactly 1 year to pick from. So now if we go here to our live emulator, we can go ahead and see that we can pick today and any day before today, but we can't pick any day after today. And the same thing goes with the time. It's not going to allow us to pick any time beyond this current hour. So it's going to say nope, but we can go back in time to 12:40 p.m. Now let's create the final example. So date picker number 4. And on date picker number 4, I'm going to show you that we can also change it, that we can only pick the time, or we can choose also only to pick a date. So we have everything that's the same. We can just actually remove the closed range. They can pick any day they want. Except this time we're going to add the displayed components modifier. So here it's going to give us an option between hour and minute and date. If we pick hour and minute, it's going to only allow us to use the hour and the minute. Otherwise, if we click on date, it's going to tell us we can only pick a date. And on top of this, I also want to show you that we can hide the label. If we don't like this label, we can go ahead and type in labels hidden. And it's going to take away the label and only leave us with the date selector in case you want to provide a custom icon or something else. Now, the last thing to do is to create a section that has the result. So here we will go ahead and remove all of this and say result. Then we will remove this content, get the text. Then inside here, we're going to add some quotation marks and interpolate and add the current time. And as you will notice, we're going to get the full date at the bottom. So every time we decide to actually update this, let's say to the 27th, this will update at the bottom. And it's also going to update all the other instances besides date picker number 3, because we specified we cannot pick a future date. But if we go and click number 4, all of the other ones will update besides date picker number 2, because we cannot go further than 25. So as you can see, everything updates. But this is really hard to use because it's not formatted and it actually looks quite ugly if you are a user. So now it's time to create a function that can format this and allow us to use the values as we please. So right below closed range, we're going to go ahead and create a function that's going to be called format date. And it's going to go ahead and return a string of our format. Now the first thing we need to create is a variable called components. And this is going to equal calendar.current.date components. So first we need to create an array, and inside this array we're going to specify the values we want to get back. So hour dot minute, comma dot day, comma dot year, comma and dot month. It doesn't matter which order you put this in. We just need to specify that we want these values. Then we're going to pick the from, which is going to be the current time, the one that we have up here. So we will retrieve the values from this. And it's going to constantly give us this error because we didn't return anything. So for now, just return an empty string. Next, below that, we're going to go ahead and first get the hour, which is going to equal components.hour. And if that is null or nil, we're going to go ahead and get a 0. And we're going to do this actually for every single one. So let minute equal components.minute, question mark 0, let day equal components.day, question mark 0. And I'm going to paste in the other two because it's exactly the same thing. Next, we're going to return how we want to format this. So using string interpolation, we're going to add a backslash, and inside here we can specify the value of day, and I'm going to paste in my previous string. So just use these as values as you would use earlier. Each one of these holds the day, the month and the year, the hour and the minute. And depending on how you want to format it, you can add your own string, you can add a dot, you can add a question mark, you can add whatever you want. But once you have this function, you're going to want to go down and insert it inside the text. We're going to go ahead and add the format date. And now it's going to give us the numbers down here. If we decide to edit this string, we can also add, let's pretend a slash and another slash. And inside here, we can do XXX followed by XXX. And you will notice down here that we formatted the date to our liking. Now we can use the values however we like. We can even put the month before the day if that pleases you, just like that. And everything is going to be formatted. And we can also use these values how we please. But with that being said, that actually covers everything I wanted to cover. And as always, guys, thanks for watching and see you in the next lesson.